Hey everybody, thanks for joining in this quick master copy of John Singer Sargent's Portrait of an Egyptian Woman. John was about 35 or so when he went overseas to take care of these portraits. He took about 12 of the local natives, 3 or 4 of this woman, and when I saw this painting in a book for the first time, I really did fall in love. Just a week ago, I found a very high-res version of this painting, so I decided to do a quick master copy. The painting that I'm doing right now is actually 3 hours long. John probably could have pulled it off in about 3 hours, even though his is magnificent compared to mine. But the main reason I think I chose this is just because when you look up close to this painting, you can almost read his mind as to what he was seeing, how he was thinking. You can see the confidence in his brushstroke, and you can see the direction of form as he does it. A lot of John Singer Sargent's very high-end portraiture that he did for clients is so detailed, it's so refined that you almost lose how he created the painting. But this one in particular, I could imagine he pulled this off in just a few hours and left the history of his technique. So one of the best ways that I think I've ever learned painting is probably by doing master copies. And believe it or not, I think the only master copies I've ever done are of John Singer Sargent. Maybe a few others, but the reason I chose him is just because there's so much information in his brushstroke that it taught me how to see, how to put paint down on a canvas, and how to follow form with a brush. He's probably my favorite painter of all time, and I just can't get enough of it, so I wanted to share a little bit of the process with you today. From what I know about the way he painted, I've heard from friends, colleagues, and a little bit from the books. I'm not sure if he was an amazing teacher or if anyone has passed down his teachings in a detailed description, but John would almost tackle these as if they were a sculpture. Let's say he had a model of clay and he would put in the basic shape of the face in such a vague and simplified way that he kind of ignored all details, because the shape of a character and their facial structure is so important in portraiture that it's really not a good idea to jump in with the details of an eye or really the details of anything. And so the way he would paint is by putting in the shadow shapes of the eye sockets and making sure the measurements were perfect according to the model in front of him. And as you can see over the course of this painting, it was almost just like a vague shadow of what an eye could be. Eventually turns into a sketch of what the eye could be, and as you get closer to the end of the painting, you're chiseling down and down into the perfect shape. Now for me, I think the painting would have been a little bit more successful if I spent extra time on the drawing. I'm not exactly sure if he does any sort of sketching before going to the painting on canvas, but as you saw, I just kind of molded the paint around, pushed and pulled into the directions and shapes and sizes as I believed they would be. For me, when I do these master copies, I think one of the biggest things I try to pay attention to is the color. Color had always been a difficult thing for me, and pushing into this quite subtle color scheme that we've got here is just a good way to practice what you're seeing. Now, everything is a general warm tone. It's in the yellows and the browns, but being able to decipher how form changes and how it falls into shadow and yet still stays in this color scheme, it's definitely something that's good to practice. This challenge that I've taken on is going to translate very nicely into the illustrations that I do in the future. Anyway, there you have it. Quick master copy of John Singer Sargent's. Please check out the rest of my videos and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more in the future. Thank you guys. Again, this is Andrew Theopoulos. See ya.